Just to be safe. Yeah, I don't see 10 with an X. Yeah, there's no 10 with an X. Right, well, in that case, do this. You just called me a boss. Trust me, I'm not a boss. Alright, so I'm gonna assume this is going to be like sort of like a hero mission again. Well, we made it. Looks like there's a long tunnel ahead. What are all the sounds? My head is hurting. I can't think clearly. By the way, I don't know how they got here even, because they were in the they teleported. Ava is back. She's feeling sick. Ava throws out blood. What the?
Tell me your darkest.
About the time that Ava dies?
Right. Let's go. Bullseye.
Is it about the time that Ava dies? Notes. These infected were subjected to the Tempest a very long time ago. Now they are mere shadows shambling around the little purpose. Yeah, they're in the underground, I know. I know.
Nice target.
Yeah, great.
Did I just blow up the barrels?
I need to explode a skull like a snake with its prey.
I just killed a few Davids. Chamber 3 and 4. Fresh specimens are faster but exhibit the same behaviors as old specimens. They cannot be directly controlled, but can be treated like a herd and made to move in certain directions.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Bullseye.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Bullseye.
Chambers 5 and 6. These special infected have transfigured over time. Their personalities weaponized infected. They still cannot be controlled directly.
Yeah. Let's go. All right.
Oh shit.
It's a nice day to die. Yeah.
Move.
Bullseye.
Yeah, I'm not messing around with that.
Right. That's a certain kill. Death. Lovely death. Like a snake with its prey.
I'm gonna go ahead and do that just in case.
No, but lethal
Aw, that didn't kill them.
to kill
But
something.
Numbers 7 and 8. Derived from the prosperous, the suited individuals are the most affluent and intellectual members of society. Their minds are able to withstand the overwhelming nature of the tempest and thus can process basic orders. They're also susceptible to a trigger for remote control and termination.
Bullseye.
Alright?
I smell this coming.
Cool.
Nice target. Yeah. Let's go.
Chamber 9s, 10, 11, and 12. The ultimate in control. This is the basis for our true goal for the Tempest, the Solomon. 4 and synthesized from the prosperous and subject AB with the different ratios. Solomon 1 remains in the lab, while Solomon 4 has shown the most promise. Inactive, deceased, unknown, and active. Johnny? That's my brother, but he's different. He looks too old, has different physique, and his face isn't quite the same. It's like he's been merged with someone else. What the heck? Not only that, but he looks a bit like you. Okay. Do we want to shoot his brother? Or her brother, rather. Mm-hmm. Please don't shoot this person. Let's follow the sounds a little further. Maybe we'll find some answers. Tempting.
What?
Tempting.
Who do you want me to punish? Let's go.
Being merged with Sam. What is that noise? It's coming from the tower. We need to destroy it. Ava has blood coming out of her ears and nose. She's crying tears of blood.
Nice target. It's a nice day to die. Yeah. Alright.
Is that Energy Wonder? That is Energy Wonder.
Alright.
Wait, do I need to... Oh, I need to destroy the Energy Wonder? Well, that sucks. I don't want to destroy it. I feel better, lighter, my mind is clear again. What is going on? Should keep going to find answers.
Roger that.
Alright.
Slow, but
You said I had to destroy my energy.
it's prey.
Are those Thannies over there? Those are Thannies over there. Some music starts playing. If it is too loud, then please turn down your speaker headphones volume. Or you have the power to make it stop. Keep the music playing. One you called John served a great purpose. He would not be stood here today without him. That's what the local folks have come to call me. My preferred name is... What? The Korax? Korak. I'm responsible for the Tempest and everything that came after. Oh, Lord. Do I read all of that, chat? Read it? Do we skip it? The Tempest is my life work set up on the world to bring order. Quite simply, the Tempest was a way of controlling people. Social discontent was the rise, and a group formed from top 1%, known as the Prosperous, struggling to maintain control on the world through traditional politics and power, be it wealth or influence. They needed to find a better way, a more guaranteed way, to control the population of the world. They wanted the people to think they were acting upon their own free will. In fact, their actions were defined by the Prosperous. When the Prosperous approached me in the early 21st century, I was 25 years old, misunderstood and ignored by society. I had a brilliant mind and a young son called Caliban, and the Prosperous saw our potential. I spent the next 15 years developing my ideas and concepts and put them into reality. Eventually, in 2006, my work was completed. I used the plant known as Devil's Breath as the basis of the project Tempest to control a mind. I developed a neurotoxin bonded with tree pollen, and this became known as the Tempest. Alright. I hate my life. There's gonna be a lot of reading. Oh, not exactly. The tests up to this point were largely successful. One problem was the weak-minded were completely brainwashed by the Tempest, but this was viewed as an unintended success. Why try and control the free will of someone who can wipe their mind clean and rewrite them not have free will. The idea in principle was wonderful, but over the 15 years, I became more and more engulfed by my work, and my son, now himself in his 20s, was being ignored, just as I had been before I began work on the Tempest. My son Caliban has developed in his own mind, in his own way, and I failed to notice this. Parents are the greatest influence on a child's upbringing, and I was hardly there for him. But in my absence, mine developed far beyond what I could ever comprehend. A decade into the project, I still had a number of stumbling blocks to overcome before completing the Tempest. I would be muttering problem out loud and he would offer a solution to the problem. And it wasn't long before he has fully helped out the project. But what Caliban didn't say to me was that so the Prosperous were doing, using me as a means to an end. My value to them was my word. He had no evidence, but his mind was this theory and injected it to his reality, and so Caliban was prepared. Tempest had been spread around the world, and the majority of the people had unwittingly inhaled the tree pollen, and neurotoxin has spread to their nerve tissues, ready for a trigger to activate the control. Oh, oh God, how much more? You know, yeah. There is gonna be a lot. I have a feeling. This is literally the full story, I guess. The Prosperous, naturally being the self-appointed elite guards of society, were not weak-minded, and tests on subjects with the highest intelligence showed that they could be controlled, but only to a certain degree, such as trained dog, such as Twitch chat, loyal and able to perform on demand, but not always reliably, nor were they able to carry out advanced tasks. Furthermore, as we didn't want to entirely decimate society, we developed the Tempest so that the rarest blood type, namely AB, would be immune to the virus that leads to the neurotoxin spreading to the nerve system. We'd all had blood transfusions, but Caliban had devised the plan to have the Prosperous be given the wrong blood type, so they all became infected with the Tempest and became the suited individuals you have come across. To make it flow better. Yeah, I mean, still kind of well done. The trigger was a simple and specific radio have frequency that, when transmitted, triggered the neurotoxin, allowing the person to be controlled through the signal. Prosperous arranged for the biggest protests and riots the world had ever seen. A large coordinated protest that incorporated a wide range of themes, from climate change to government corruption. It was devised, of course, and people all over the world were watching it on television. Televised. Then at the peak viewing time, the activation signal was transmitted from the most powerful radio tower ever built. It was one like it. This is only a satellite lab. The tower here was a relay controller tower that is malfunctioning. It has begun misfiring and is now ineffective, but luckily the locals here have already been under my influence. That is until you came along. Oh my God. This is like basically my biggest nightmare is reading. Hey Evie, how's it going? Service, good morning. Was very verbose. Verbose? You are not my biological son like Caliban. And Johnny, like the locals here, have been invaluable in developing the next stage of the Tempest. The Prosperous were under the control of myself and Caliban, while much of the world had been brainwashed. But the mass brainwashing had an undesirable consequence. With their minds erased, people began to revert back to their primeval stage of mind. Survival at all costs. This meant the infected had a natural instinct to kill those who were a threat. Anyone who hadn't been brainwashed became a target to be slaughtered. The world descended into chaos. We continued our research to develop the Tempest further and achieve our goal of total control. Caliban developed a way to splice DNA together to find the perfect complexion. We began by using the members of Prosperous that we had some control over. We also developed a new trigger that wasn't limited by the range of a radio signal. The trigger became the words, "Long live the Tempest." When a Prosperous suited individual said these words, it would trigger the infection in them. Okay. We were also able to use infected individuals as proxy to infect others as we whispered the words, "We are the Tempest." This was all well and good, but we wanted better control, so we needed non-infected survivors to do further tests. That's why we set up a satellite base here and a safe haven, so we could have a pool of people to experiment on. Over time, the kidnapping of colonists from the nearby camp developed them into a religious cult, which made it even easier for us. Then John Lockhart was picked about 3 years ago, and he held the key. Ava, you and your brother have a rare trait in that you both have AB plot types, which is why we were both immune to the Tempest. We were able to bond the DNA of your brother and that of a Prosperous to create our own controllable prototype. It still took several attempts to get formula right. First attempt remains in this lab. 50% DNA was from John and 50% from Prosperous, but this was a failure. And the individual had no... So does that mean we get to kill Ava? Copy paste into TTS. I can read it myself. I mean, my pronunciation and stuff is failure, and the individual had no consequence at all. We created 2 more iterations with different races and different Prosperous individuals. They were named Mackenzie and McCracken. 2 years ago, we placed them on the field test in North Scotland so that we could see how they performed. Tempest in them was such that they were fully conscious but completely unaware that they were doing our commands. First, we had McCracken throw infected into the tunnels below Kirkwall to snuff out their original expansion out into the mainland. Then, when the time was right, more recently, we allowed the Prosperous suited man to be captured and brought back to Kirkwall, but our control of them was perfect. Occasionally, their subconsciousness blocked our commands, as you found out when they helped you escape Kirkwall and their minds couldn't comprehend the truth about them being created in a lab. There are no trees on the island and the winds are strong. Quite simply, the people there neither came into contact with nor absorbed the neurotoxin. The remaining AB plot type survivors from around the world flocked there, and other remote treeless islands to escape and live on. Caliban wanted the survivors eradicated so that As mother and son, we could control the world. But my softer maternity instincts compelled me to come to compromise agreement with the leaders of Kirkwall. They could live in peace and continue humanity, but the condition that they could not step off the island. Around 9 months ago, Kirkwall started building colonies on the mainland. Tempest was still present, but something was stopping the signal that should have infected them. Just before this, alongside McCracken and Mackenzie, in the North Scotland, we just placed our final and finest creation infused with the Tempest. Name was McKaylee. Wait. Okay. Caliban was jealous of our creation, as I saw McKaylee as my flawless child. Caliban never got enough attention growing up, and now he could see I was fully focused on McKaylee. Oh my lord. This Witcher 3 song? Yep. Yes, it is. A new Witcher 3 DLC. I never finished Witcher 3. I think I played it halfway through. I only went halfway through of it. Yes, 9 months ago you were formulated in a lab, but since your deployment we haven't been able to control you. I didn't know why until now. Since Ava and Johnny were siblings and McKaylee's perfect infusion of DNA from Johnny and Prosperous, seems together you form an extremely powerful subconsciousness that blocks the Tempest. It's also inhibited the infection and control of those around you. Without you, McKaylee, the invasion of the mainland would have been doomed and everyone would be infected and controlled by now. Caliban was furious and wanted to punish Kirkwall immediately. He started changing the Tempest so that it could be carried in water and also control all blood types, but this meant he had to find another way to make us both immune. He devised a way to alter our bone marrow to rapidly produce a new blood type, XY. But in the range of jealousy, the rush to make us immune, he made a mistake. Our bodies mutated and we ended up as these giant monstrosities. It was during this time when I and Caliban truly went our separate ways. I told Caliban he had gone too far. I implored him to stop and that his vision was madness, but he wouldn't listen. He said I'd grown weak and he became useless to him. We were both powerful mind controllers and our conflict caused great confusion in our subjects. But his mind was stronger than mine and he was able to subdue me. He still recognized me as his mother and he spared my life, but he imprisoned me here so that I couldn't stop him. This caused much confusion in the Tempest and the Prosperous suited individuals. These plunders allowed Kirkwall to expand further south, but Caliban saw this as a perfect opportunity to put our two controllable creations to the test. He had Mackenzie gather a stash of the Tempest neurotoxin from the, I can't pronounce that very well, materials test reactor to take control of Kirkwall. McCracken then distributed it in a water supply in and around Kirkwall. By the time you arrived at the Kirkwall, it was too late to block the Tempest. Sensing victory, Caliban was changed for the worse in many ways. He no longer cared for this world and looked further afield. Oh man. I don't have to read it. I mean, it is story and it is a mission, so it is one of the campaign missions. So I'm kinda forced to. My love for Caliban trained and was replaced with fear of what he had become. But without the love of his mother, he lost himself in his own mind and became. I'm not going to be reading anything else in the other missions because this is literally the entire story, right? Unless there's something else, but this is likely all of it, basically. He lacks the cornerstone to keep him tied to reality, and now he's no longer content controlling just humanity. He wants to control every atom in the universe. In his mind, he believes that by controlling enough minds, he could control not just the nerve system of a person, but the very fabric of time and space. As a child, he was obsessed with space, the stars, and the moon, and now it seems he has reverted to his obsession. Once he took control of the Tempest project, he wanted to hold the Earth to destroy him. This is a reference from, you know. Felt like something that has to do with a continent and a hand. You know what I mean? As much as mother wants to believe in and help their child follow their dream, with or without the moon going. Oh, okay, I'm not gonna. This is. All right. You are my proudest creation, but no longer fostered by me. I believe you are your own person, but there is something else. I have very limited control left on Caliban, and Caliban controls the infected, but I sense another. I thought it was the Tempest itself, but it feels like someone else. Oh my lord. Wait. You have to kill Ava? Right? Yeah. You really decide what you want to say, or is your free will being manipulated? I do not know myself, but maybe Caliban knows more. Our main lab was on the Isle of Wight, an island to the south of England, and that is where he went to develop plans to control everyone and everything. But first, he must destroy the controller tower in London. The more minds he controls, the stronger he is. By removing his control of the millions of infected in London, you will weaken him enough to be able to land on the Isle of Wight. Otherwise, you and your friends will be overwhelmed by Caliban. The final phase will then be to kill Caliban, but Caliban is my son, not parent. No parent should see their child die before them, so before you leave the lab, to the lower left, please kill me. What do we do? What do we do, Chad? What would you like to do? Please kill me, I do not want to suffer here anymore.
All right. Like a snake with its prey.
My bow is ready. Yeah.
My rifle is ready.
Okay, I killed the giant.
Target. Yeah. Roger that. Nice.
Now what?
Like a snake with its prey. Let's go. Yeah. Roger that.
Michaela and Ava head out to the cave lab. It turns out the cave exits into some cliff on the Wales coast, so they walk out into the bright sunshine. Michaela and Ava have learned the secrets of the Tempest from its creator, Korak. who revealed that her son Caliban has taken over the project. He's now looking to control everyone and then everything on the planet. But Caliban and his base on the Isle of Wight, an island to the south of England, but he has control over the great many mines and will be able to control and kill anyone who arrives there. First, the controller tower in the city of London must be destroyed to weaken the control of the. Oh. You know that might have been the toughest thing that I've ever done in Day of Brilliance. It didn't involve playing. Kick.